Going. So, all right. So, welcome to our live instructional webinar designed to support Memory Book Online Yearbook Program. Today, I'm going to be focusing on functions that relate to building activity or candid pages. These are your fun pages in the program. Specifically, we will be reviewing page bleeds and margins, going over the toolbar that pops up when you select certain elements, design functions, templates, how to take our own templates and make them your own custom templates. And then we're going to wrap up on themes, what that means in our program. That's mainly just theme art that goes along with one of our standard covers that you've chosen. If you decided to go that route. Now, even if you haven't, if you've gone with your own custom cover, feel free. Let's check out those themes. You may find a lot of those backgrounds may fit into what you're working with there. Um, so back to what I was kind of explaining here. So the first thing I'm going to go over is the concept of bleed and bleeds and margins here when you're looking at our layout. Um, so when we talk about bleed in printing, what bleed is it's full color that extends beyond the edge of the page. So essentially, when your pages go to get trimmed, you're left with just nice full color all the way to the end, and you don't have any kind of unsightly kind of paper edging or anything, that you're still seeing the paper and the color didn't get all the way out to the end. So that's so when we talk about bleed here, and we're going to go over the areas here. This blue inside line, this is your inside page margins. This is where you're going to want to keep all of your important photos, text, any part of your design in this area. Now moving out to this red outer line here, this is our estimated trim line. Now the reason that we say it's estimated, it could be off by up to 1/8 inch during actual production. Some factors that come into play there would be, the trimmer being used, which trimmer's being used, how sharp those blades are, how big the run is, or even the trim operator. So if all those kind of combine, just normal production. That's why we say this is an estimated, because it could be, which an eighth is very small adjustment. But just to let everyone know, it's estimated, and it could be, up to 1/8 inch. Now, the reason why the bleed comes into play, bleed is that full color that extends beyond the edge of the page. And that's what's represented by this. Well, when you don't have a background or anything there, it's going to show as this little bit darker gray bar that is here. But once you have shapes or photos or backgrounds that extend out to the very edge, this lighter shaded area here, that's what's being estimated to be trimmed off. So this is the bleed area out here. So even with that estimated right there, if it goes, whether just in a little bit or if it just goes just out a bit, just depending on how that, where it trims the paper, having this bleed here will just ensure that you got full color on your pages, and it gives a nice clean look. And then when you or your students are flipping through your pages, you're like, this looks nice. I've got full color all the way in. You don't have to worry about kind of any paper edging in that. Where if something was kind of like this off, but the program's not going to let us do that. The program, if you try to finely rest elements between the blue and the red, it will either pop it all the way out, or if you try to move it back down, it'll push it all the way down into the margin. Program's not going to let you finally rest anything between there, so it's just going to take it either way. So another thing to keep in mind when you're building pages, because there's a couple different ways you can build pages here in the program. What you can start with, when we get going in, we can start with our templates, and we have tons of templates that are, for easy page creation. Throw those onto a page, start bringing photos into them, dragging and dropping, and we'll show that here in a little bit. But you are able to just build pages using the basic elements that we have here. And that's just by, from the images or the text, Basically, you can just build a page without a template. You can, from your text tab, bring over a text box. Now, these here, you'll see many different things here. These are what we call styles. And a style is just a starter text box. So it's any one of these. So it's 1, 2, 3. Well, this is one I had made, but basically it's a starter text box. So I could bring this one onto a page. And what it is, it just starts this way. So it starts, this style just happens to be Foundation Sans 24 point. Tagline, I'll just bring this one on just to show it's small. It's 10. But now once these are on the page, you can then pretty much change them up to any other font style and size that's here. If you're working with text and you see a red X in a text box like this, that just means that the text inside is not all that's being shown. You just may need to make the box a little bit bigger. Once the box gets just a little bit bigger, or possibly the font size adjusted, that red X will go away. But these don't have to start that way. They can go to a different size. You can even, I'm trying to go smaller there. There we go. Size. You even change it to a different font style that is there. So, like I said, these are just text. Any one of these will give you a text box when you drag and drop them over to a page. They're just called styles. And even if you bring them over, you don't have to keep it that way. You can always change it up. But for this, I'm just going to bring this on just to kind of show you. Just a matter of like, if you want to just do a quick simple page, you can toss a text box on here. Headline, whichever else. Get it to the size. There we go. I'll keep it there. So I've got a heading here. If we go to the images tab, if you've uploaded your images, you find where your images are at, and you can build a page just by dragging and dropping the images over. I've already done that. You can just drag and drop them, and then you can resize, the images to your liking. Now, sometimes what we see people building pages, you can just build a page just by dragging and dropping images on, sizing them to your liking. A lot of times we see this a lot with collage pages. That's a really good idea if you just have just loads of photos that you don't really have a particular place for them, but maybe you still want to get all that in the book. Collage page is awesome to do. You just toss them on and structure them around, around the page. Now, when you do something like that, there are some considerations to take into account. One is when you have certain photos, because you can put photos all the way up to the edges here and where part of it goes in. Now, when you're bringing photos in, dropping the photos that are around the edge, there's some things to keep in mind. So that way you don't have anything trimmed that is important or that you don't want to be trimmed. So we're going to take this look at this photo of these two young lads here. And you notice that the photo is cropped or cut just right above this kid's head here. So when we're looking at photos and bring them on, and we want them to go out to the bleed, the part of the photo that you really want to look for is what part of the photo has empty or unused space. So like for a photo like this, it would work well going out to the outer edge. The focus of the photo is right here within the margin still. Only thing that's probably part of at risk is this little bit of his elbow that is there, which it's not the main part of the photo here. So you're focusing in right here. This photo would work well being put to the inside because we got a lot of dead space here. You don't mind that being trimmed off, so it would work well there. It even works well if I come down, I go to the bottom of the page. We're getting just a little bit of the hands, but the core of the photo is still within our margins here, so it's in our safe area. The one spot that this particular photo doesn't work well as is if it was put to the bleed at the very top of the page. So as we put him in, we notice now that we have stuck this student's head right into the bleed area and right on the trim line. Now, depending on, like I said, that could be variables in printing. If it could fall short and trim off a little more of this student's head than we may have liked. So, this photo didn't have a lot of space here, but if this photo had a lot of, had more room up at the top, um, then yeah, it would be great to stick up here. So when you're just to keep in mind when you're looking at photos to make a collage page with, if you go that route, just keep in mind where the photos crop at and check for people's heads. And just when you're placing them out today, just if there's something that you don't want trimmed, you might need to reposition that photo. But just some things to keep in mind. Look for the extra space here and kind of use that to your advantage. All right, so let's see. I've got a photo here, I've got a text box here, and I got a shape here. So I'm going to go over a little bit of designer and toolbar basics before we really get kind of going into some stuff here. So across and I'm going to zoom in on the actual browser here so we can kind of go over some of these tabs and over here. All right, so when you're working in the program, as you're working, we do not have autosave. So as you're working, you get a few things done. You want to hit save. You're going to go up to File and hit Save here. If you're familiar with keyboard shortcuts, Control S. Many programs have Control S for save. Save is also a shortcut up here on our top toolbar here. This little 3.5 floppy disk looking icon here. So that's our quick, that's the same as this. So a few different ways to save. We're going to come back to this later when we show you working on templates, because this is where you're going to go back to saving and working on your templates here. Moving over to edit. Here's, if I could stay there. So you have undo. We do have undo and redo. These are also shortcuts here with the little arrows that are on our top toolbar. We have our standard cut, copy, paste, and delete. So if you're also familiar with keyboard shortcuts, Control X for copy, Control C, Control X for cut, Control C for copy, and Control V as in Victor for paste. Now, if you're not working on a Mac, this will be Command plus X, Command plus C, Command plus V. Another thing you'll come to often under this menu will be to change background. This will bring up the background menu that we will work with later. This menu, it floats around, so you can keep it up. Move it out of the way while you're working out something here. It's also one of those menus. I'm going to close out of it real quick. If you're working on a page and you right click on the page, that change background here is an option as well, same as your cut, copy, paste, delete. So you've got right click menu options as well to work with. I'm just going to bring change background up for a second here. Go back under here. Also under edit, we have some text options like find and replace and spell check. The spell check of the program, if you do it, it's a page by page kind of thing. It checks for basic spelling in that. It does not check for grammar or stuff like you'd see in Microsoft Word or certain other email applications. Now, if you need to do selection of stuff or just select all of one thing or not, on the select options, you can do a select all. If you just want to work with the images on your page, you can do that. Text boxes, shapes, and then whatever else you need to pick here. Moving on from that, under the view menu, Here's where you've got things like hide rulers and hide page margin. We don't suggest hiding either one of those. Um, Grids and guides, if you need to work with grids and guides on your page. Um, the grids on a page are defaulted to be on. You can hide those. You can turn them off where you don't have that. Now, as opposed to turning it or hiding it here, there's also in the bottom corner of the designer, there's a little two button toggle here, and the bottom button of that can toggle on and off the grid lines there. And also under here, this is where you're going to find your zoom in, zoom out, and fit and window controls. Now these are also an easy option or a quick option. And here's zoom up here on the top toolbar. So you can get to it easily here just while you're on a page. Now the very down at the bottom here, this is where you control the pages that you're seeing as far as if you're viewing the whole page spread or if you're working with a single page. Most of the time, if you're working on this yearbook, if you're the only person working on it, you'd probably most likely just leave it as viewing as facing pages as you're going. But if you are let's say if you're an advisor that is working with a yearbook group, and depending on how you have certain pages assigned, you may have to split those pages up so neither one of your students are having save errors. What will happen in our program, if you have, let's say you've got person A, person B, and they're working on the same two-page spread at the same time. Well, ideally you can't be working on the spread at the same time on two different places. So what will happen is if person A saves the change before person B does on their computer, it will honor person A's changes, but it will make person B save their changes as a template and then come back and apply it later. So it's doable, but after a time, those students don't want to keep having to run into that. If you are facing that, the best way to um, avoid those save errors is to have each student come up to the view menu and go down to a single page. That way, if person A is on the left page, and then person B is on the right page, and they both have single view, their changes will then not affect each other just because they're in that single view. So just if you have students where you have two assigned to the same spread, this is the best thing to do. That way one person doesn't affect the other person's work. Go back to facing pages. Bring up arrange tools here. This is where you can lock and unlock elements. These are also on the top tool or in the toolbar that pops up too. If we select an element, then we have a lock icon that's up here. We can lock our items. It'll show a little locked icon on the page. Group and ungroup. So if we had a like a little cluster of items, maybe we had a neat little cluster of items here that we wanted to keep together and move around or something as one. We can highlight that whole group. So under arrange, you do group. You can also, if we come over here and get group with this little first group icon that's here. So now this is all one element. To ungroup it, you either go to the arrange, do ungroup, or you can come back here to this top toolbar and do ungroup here, and then you've got separate elements again. And let me go through here. Put that back. Some other things that we have here. If you're looking for alignment, we can align items here. I'm going to select these three. So under arrange, we can align. So when we're looking at the align options, align horizontally, left, center, and right. This is actually going to be more for your columns. So if I hit left here, everything's going to pull and be, on that next side. Undo that. So align horizontally, left, center, right. These are for your columns. Align vertically, that would be top, middle, and bottom. So if I wanted the tops of all these to be level, select them all, hit flip, or not flip, sorry, align top. These same options are up here under this arrange drop down. So this is the same thing, looks like a stack of 3 pieces of paper there. So we still have the align left, center, and right. That's for your columns. Top, middle, bottom, that is for rows. And there. All right, so we've gone over kind of some toolbar basics here. So let's get into kind of some easy page building using templates and what you're kind of finding when you're looking for templates. Let's see, actually. Go over one page. Here we go. Okay. So going down the tabs here. Now, when you're working in the designer, if you need to get to another set of pages, there's really no need for you to jump back out to the page ladder and then access the page and come right back to the designer. If you just go to the pages tab, this pretty much has the same. It's the page ladder right here. You're able to select the page you want to go to and easily just get to that next spread. So that just keeps you in the same area. That way you don't have to go all the way out and then basically make a full circle trip back into this area. So the next tab down, designs. And I'm going to go under the drop down. Anything that you see under or custom, this is going to be anything that you've done. We're going to come back to this spot in just a moment. Where we're going to look for today and the templates that we're working with are going to be under Page Surfer. So any of the templates that are under Page Surfer are going to be good for candid or activity pages. So we've got candids, clubs and organizations, gallery, openings and dividers, sports, student life, and academics. Some of them, if you're looking for some of the more basic templates that are just primarily photo boxes, maybe you have a text box for just like a heading or that. For most of those type of templates, you're just going to find those under candids. And like I said, this has mainly just a lot of our generic templates that are in here. If you see a template that you want to use, you can just drag and drop it over to a page. If you get this retain existing content message, basically what this is, if you have nothing on a page, there's nothing to really retain or keep is basically what it is. We can hit no in this case. Now, when you bring a template over and you hit no, it's going to overwrite anything that is on the page and drop in the new template. Now, if I was to bring something over and then hit yes, what the program tries to do, it's not full, like foolproof or anything like that. But what the program is going to try to do is take some of your existing elements and fit them into your new template somehow. On that, where things, it's kind of hit and miss on your photos where they would go. But where I think this really falls important is if you have a particular background that you want to keep on the page. So if you've got a background that you're using on that other design and you hit yes, most likely it's going to keep that background that you used. And that way you don't have to go back later and just reapply the background. But primarily when you're going through here, a lot of times you're going to be hitting no on this. Um, but yeah, if you got a background you want to keep, then hit yes in there. Um, but yeah, a lot of the templates I'm finding one, I was just trying to find some of the more, I got some nice ones. They have, quite a few boxes, headline spot, other photos to fill in. Some have other little stuff that's part of them to do something neat. You could do captions. Now, when you're looking at our templates, um, none of what you see here is anything that's set in stone. So, I mean, if you see stuff that, like, oh, well, I like this layout, but let's say that, in this area, maybe I want to, or maybe in just this area, maybe I want to make my heading. And this is going to be the particular heading I do for all my pages. Um, so what you can do, there's some lines and stuff in here, but you can remove parts out of the template that you don't want to hang on to. Actually, I'm going to go back. I'll move him out of the way for a moment. All right. So we can change it. We can change any part of a template. We can, change the titles to what you need it to be. Let's see. I could just put in a new heading in here. Maybe I want to make, bring this over. Actually, I kind of like it filling in more of that space here. But, I could make this photo bigger, bring it out more. So anything can be adjusted. Parts can be taken out. If I didn't want that photo, or maybe I needed another something like here. But the point is, in it, nothing is set in stone here. So I can move all this out and around. And that's kind of the beauty of these templates is, I'm going to stay. I'm just going to undo all that I did there. Okay. So we can modify these. So this is kind of part of that customizing our templates that we have. Now, a lot of times when you get working with the templates, a lot of times you're just going to be dragging and dropping in. So when you bring a photo over and you see it highlight green like this, that's going to tell you that this photo is big enough for this spot. So if you bring it over and then you let go, if you, pull, release your mouse button there, that image is going to fit right in there. So green is good. Okay, there we go. Put that in, but you did. I'm going to go back to this. So what you're seeing on some of these, when I bring the photo over, I'll put that in. Now, when I go to bring this photo in, you notice it doesn't go green, but it's showing red here. What that's letting you know is that that photo, I'll try to drop it here. So that particular photo was not large enough to fill that spot. So that's what the red was when you bring it over it. Now, instead of what the program will do, what the program will do is, even though it didn't go into that box, the program will still make a photo box for it, and it's here on the page, and it's just over top of that other photo box here. But what you'll notice, if you try to enlarge this photo, it's not letting me enlarge it any further. That's just because our program will not allow you to enlarge an image beyond its actual size, and that is to keep it within its print resolution there. So you don't, it's keeping you from making it larger and making it looking really pixelated or blurry or anything like that. Now, when you get a small photo like this, you kind of have that question of what do I do with that particular photo then? On some of that, you may go back to whoever. It could be how it was sent to you. Sometimes in being sent over email, maybe it's attached at a default small size and not the largest size that there is, um, or anything. It could be a few different reasons. Um, but if you're not able to get a replacement for it or anything, a lot of times if you have a collage page in the works, typically a lot of people will throw those smaller photos on there just to get them into the book somehow there. All right, so actually I'm going to take this photo back out, and maybe this is one of those things where maybe I didn't want a big photo here. So I'm going to take that out. And you know what? Or like before, maybe I liked this little spot right here. So I'm going to highlight this. I'm actually going to group this. Now let's say that I want to bring this a few more times over here. So a couple different ways. I can right click on it, do copy. I can do edit. Wait, you gotta select it. Gotta do edit, copy, edit, paste, and bring another one out. And let's say I'm gonna do two more here. From here, I'm just gonna do keyboard shortcuts. So Control C, Control V, and Control C, Control V. All right, now I'm gonna select those, and I'm gonna go to Arrange. Should align the tops there. Now the one thing that we wish we really had, but hasn't been given to us over the years, is distribute. So we have alignment, top, bottom, left, center, but we just don't have a distribute that would then push those out. So from here on something like that, that's where you kind of might rely more on the grid lines that we have here. So I'm just going to put two grids in between each one of these. And I'll just select it here, and then I'll bring all this over. Sure, do another box here, just to kind of fill some spots. There we go. That kind of looks nice. Actually, bring it down a little bit. There we go. Okay, so let's say that you've done this and you were like, oh, okay, I like this. This is a template that I kind of want to go with here. So you've modified one of our own. You've done stuff like that. So from here, if you want to save it as your own, just go to File, and we're going to do Save as Template. Here's where we're going to then get a prompt, and you can choose just the left page, just the right page, or both pages. On this first one, I'm going to do both. So it's, I'll just give it a name. My candids, and I'm just going to name this one Candid Spread. Hit Save. And let's say maybe I just want this left side here, so I can go to File, Save as Template, and left page, and I'll just give today's date because I've probably got tons of other ones named the same here. So let's just do 24. Okay, 12/5/24. We're just getting the left side. Hit Save. All right, so the one thing I'm going to show you here about templates and that. So once you've saved your own template, you're going to find that under the Designs tab. And this time, if you go under Custom, any template that you have made yourself, you're going to find that under My Templates. Go here. Here it is. So here's the two that I've done for this. I've got some other ones here. You see your template, and then if you go on to your next pages, you can then just drop this on. Do you want to retain anything? It's a blank page. This one could go either way on that. So here we go. So now I want to show you one quick thing here is, so what happens when I bring that left template over onto the right side? Well, if I bring it over, it's actually going to flip and mirror that layout when it goes over. Um, so that's the kind of a neat thing. If you're doing it like that, it'll give you kind of a mirrored look here. But left going on to right will kind of flip that template. But then it's like, well, what if I did want this side to look exactly like this? Okay, the one thing you'll need to do first is actually go up, hit save here. And then we're going to go change our page view, just a single page. And I'm actually going to go to that other side. I'm going to go on to page 21. All right, so this is the flipped view of that. Now, if we go under arrange, this time I'm going to go down to mirror. And there's mirror horizontally and mirror vertically. So vertically, we'll take that content and flip basically that and move it down. So just quickly, I'm going to take that, I'm going to hit view just to show you what that did there. So it kind of made an upside down look. So that's taking your template and giving it just an extra little touch. Be like, wow, that kind of did something neat there. Then go back to view, go back to single page. I'm actually going to bring my template back on. Do you want to retain anything in the existing template? I'm going to hit no this time. So what's on the page now is completely overwritten. Okay, so I'm back to my flipped look because it's left on right. Well, if I want this now, if I go under arrange, I go to mirror. If I do horizontally, it's going to flip it that way. Hit save and do file. Oh, not file. Go back to view, go to facing pages. And now we have the same kind of look here. If you did need that other side to where your right looked like that too, after doing this, this is where I would probably go file, save as template, select the right side, and just did, candid page. I always like to do the sides on all caps just so it sticks out to me. And then 2.4. So I got that, hit save. So now you got your left template, you got your right template. And then just if you did want that mirrored look, you could just keep on using your left template there and having that. But that's just some creative, fun things that you can do there with your templates and that. And let's see, images. Tell you what, do here real quick. Oh, didn't like that. Okay, get a few photos in there. Okay, so when dropping photos in, some other things, is when you're working with your photos and bringing them in, is how do I kind of crop and reposition these photos once they're in our frames here? Well, the first thing I'll need to actually do here is kind of ungroup this because I had it grouped. But now I've got the photos selected. So if you want to, while you're on a page, let's say you either need to adjust how the photo looks in the frame, crop or adjust the photo. A couple different ways you can activate that. If you select the photo, there is the crop function that is right up here. And if you click it, it'll bring you into the crop mode for that photo. Or another way to quickly access it is also just double clicking on your photo. So you double click on it. All right. So now we're in crop mode. So if we want to, let's say that we want to because I place these here so I could do two things. So on this side, if I want these two kiddos there, bring this over here. Now, when you're hand crop mode, if you grab in the photo, this allows you to kind of readjust what's, reposition up and down. The handles are what's going to allow you to resize the image. So if I grab a yellow handle, I'm going to bring it down, I can adjust the size there. And then to close the crop or anything, you just kind of click outside of that area. Looks like I need to ungroup that. So I'm going to crop this photo. I'm going to bring her in now. So again, just either to crop, either double click or select and go up here. But this definitely how you can get some of those images. And kind of how to work, how to adjust your photos there. So some other things you can do. Just when you're working on, just if you wanted to work on simple formatting and stuff like that. It depends on what element or which type of element you have selected on a page. So let's just start with the text box. It's up here at the top. So if I select text, the toolbar that pops up above the page, this is called our contextual toolbar. So if you have text selected, this bar up here is going to give you different text editing options. You can change the font style. You can change the size. You can change the color of what that will be. And just kind of the different attributes. And depending on what the font is, sometimes they don't have specific attributes like bold, but they may have italicized, underline. If you want to do all uppercase or capitalized, title case, all upper, all lower. There we go. Take those off. All right. So text editing options. Now, that's just working with the text. Now, if you go to change with color and that, if we go under, when we hit the color, we have four options. We've got the first is text fill. So that's the color that's going to be in. I'm actually going to change the font style here to something a little bit. There we go. A little bigger there. All right. So then we have text stroke, and this is if you want to put like a stroke around the text there. Now, if and that's just working with your font and the actual lettering. Now, if you want to work with the box itself, this is when you can go to shape fill, and that will give you color for the box. And if I go here, shape stroke, this will give the box, just a simple border that goes around there. So again, so that's just if you select text, these are the options you'll get for text. If we have photos selected, this is where you can go to, yeah, photo effects here. So the first one I'll kind of show you. I wish these buttons were arranged just a little differently, but let's say you want to add a simple little stroke border to that. Come to this drop down. You'll see different varying sizes from 0 up to 9. The higher the point, the thicker that stroke will be on the image. So I'll just go 2 point. And again, if I come under here, I can pick like whatever that stroke color needs to be. So that's kind of stroke for that. So let's add simple border. If I come under formatting effects, this is where I could do things like rounding the corner. Transparency will make a photo kind of see-through to where you can see kind of through back behind it. you usually see this worked more with shapes. Shapes have formatting, and we see kind of people work with those too. If you have a photo that you think maybe just a bit dark, or it's kind of that, um, use the tint to kind of lighten it just a little bit. Now let's say that you want to maybe give some of your images they appear like they have a little bit of lift on the page. Um, Under that, go under drop shadow. For drop shadow, it starts under drop shadow. You select a color. It looks like it's raised up off the page a little bit there. That's always kind of a neat look there. If you don't do a border, but just do the rounded or something, and then just add a stroke to it, or I mean a drop shadow to it, it kind of has that raised look there. And I'll go under here. We got drop shadow. Now the other option under here is glow. Glow just puts a glow all the way around here instead of drop shadow is directional there. Okay, can I do this? All right, so I'm actually going back to can I enlarge this one a little bit? There we go. All right, select the next one. So border, kind of some drop shadow. Now another thing that that you can do on your pages is work with Snap Edit. And what Snap Edit does, let me bring this up. This is where you can bring your image up and you can put a little bit of filters on, a little bit of editing here. If you want to flip or rotate a photo. Now the filters here, you make your photos black and white on the page, sepia tone, which kind of gives it that old westerny look there. Overlays, color overlays that are there. Or if you wanted to completely colorize a photo. This one, just as a tip, if you're working with colorize, typically you might have to go like what your photo is, but when you get a lot of the lighter colors will make kind of a photo look a little washed out. Whereas if you go with a darker colors in that, it gives more depth there. So just kind of a tip there on that. And then here's also where you can adjust your brightness, contrast, and saturation on your photo. And if you're really advanced, if work with other programs that have leveling, you can work with levels just a little bit there. You can also kind of double up on these filters. You can go to black and white, and then if you wanted to, go to overlay and pick a color. Do something neat like that. And let me find a brighter color here. Make that gold. Now, after you play with it, and let's say that you want to save that, what the program is going to do is notice that your name of your image now has underscore copy. So I'm going to hit save. So what the program does here is it's made a copy of your image and put the copy in its place right here with the filters. If you go back to your images tab and you go back to your folder, you'll then see that there's that copy and here's your original. So that's neat thing about that. It's not going to, you don't have to worry about it doing anything or affecting, the original. So that way, if you always want to go back to the original, you have that. It's making its own copy to do the formatting, which is pretty good. All right, let me get things back normal size here. So that's just some of the formatting that you can kind of do to kind of work with that on your pages. Add in some of the other photos here just to fill in the rest of the page. Oh. No. There we go. That works. That works. Okay. So I got my page filled in here. I'm going to clear some of this off. All right. So let's say we got everything on our page kind of the way we wanted. We've got our captions, we're text, we got everything. Now we want to finish this off with a background. So we're going to go back. I'm going to bring up that change background menu that are here. A couple different ways to go about adding backgrounds to your program. One of the first ways you can do it is actually from the Art tab, and going from the Art tab, go under Background. And from here, this is where you're going to find autograph pages, to where you can toss those in at the back if you need autograph or signature pages. But these are all of our generic backgrounds that are here in the program, and there are tons and tons to select. So if you find one that you like and you want to use on your pages, just drag and drop it over into some empty area, and it will apply to the page. What will happen if you try to bring it over one of your photo boxes, it'll try to replace your photo if that's there. So if you're bringing these over, just make sure to drop that into some open area, and then it'll work the way that you want it to. So this is just one way. There are tons here to play with, tons to use. Try to find a good one just to kind of stick with here. Ooh, I like that. Okay. So let's say you tossed a background on, and maybe that you want to either change it out, you want to put something in, um, if you want to do some adjustments. So this is where the change background menu comes in handy. So the first thing, left or right, depending on which page you're working on. I'm actually going to hit right here for the moment, just to show you that if you want to do a solid color background, just come under background color, choose whichever color here that you want it there for the page. Now, the background that's currently on the page, let's say that we really like it, but maybe it's kind of overpowering a lot of the stuff on the page. I can't, just kind of looks muddled and kind of looks, I can't tell, where things are, you know, between here. Looks a little busy. So what we can do on that is, with our background, is actually come down to the tint and we lighten it just a little. I'm on the wrong side here, left. If I lighten that a little bit, make it more of a background, what you'll notice is by tinting it some, making it not as bold, it brings the focus back to the foreground, to where then your photos stand out better. You can see it, and it just gives a less busy look to the page with that background kind of subdued. So it's great for that. Again, there's also snap edit for the backgrounds. So even if you wanted to make that background, I'll do black and white, and let's say I'll do a color overlay, maybe a kind of a, I'll hit save. So then I kind of gave it kind of a lighter kind of golden look there to that. All the while it still keeps it at the tint level that you made it. All right, so that's just generic backgrounds that are in program, and how to do, if you want to do solid color, that is here. Now, let's say that you're looking for, you picked one of our standard covers, and you would like to, add the backgrounds that go with that cover. From the background, the change background menu, you're going to go to choose image, and this is where you're going to get this little window here that pops up. So under the drop down, you're going to go to clip art, click that little arrow right beside clip art to where it then opens up more, and you're going to see by cover, or I mean by category, by cover, by theme, by type. Our theme backgrounds are going to be under by cover, so we're going to open this up, and once you open up by cover, then with the names that you see here, these folder names that you see, these correspond with the standard covers on our cover order center. So if we went to, back to cool here, If I saw some other stuff, saw the background that was there, select it, hit select, and then apply it to your page. And then you would just kind of one thing about the theme backgrounds, we do not have a way to like tell the program to say, hey, I want this background on all these pages. So when it does come to backgrounds or theme backgrounds, any of that, you will be applying them page by page. Another thing is, no matter if you're doing a particular theme, let's say that you are doing like uh, branching out or argon or any of the other ones that we have there, this is back to cool. Even if you select one, if you're going with this, all of these backgrounds, all of these theme backgrounds are available to you. So feel free, if it lends itself to what you're working with, go ahead, select it, use it. All of this is here for you to work with. And so feel free, check all these out. But yeah, for getting to those theme backgrounds, just make sure to use the background menu. And one more time, that's if we go to choose image, just remember that you're going to come under clip art, and then you're going to come down under by cover, and then just find the name of your cover here, and then you can select your background and add it. Okay. See, I've gone a little bit over, and I think that's just because of the audio at the beginning here. We've kind of wrapped through, going through finding templates, adding, and finishing with a background. Normally, we just kind of open this up here at the end. If anyone has any kind of Q&A or just kind of any kind of last minute questions, if there's anything that I may have not covered, or if you had questions about other things that may be possible on when you're working with, or but I still have a little bit of time. If you want to unmute yourself and if you have any questions, let me know. Otherwise, if we don't have any questions, then we're good to call it a day. So I see the question here. It says, can you go back and review this? Which I guess I'm not sure what. I did record all this. So, I will get that recording back out to go over. Oh, okay. Yeah, I've got after the fumble there, I got at the beginning. I did record on our redo here. So yeah, I'll definitely try to get this up by tomorrow and get that shared back out. That way, you guys can always have this to touch back and go back to. So, all right, everybody. So we don't have any other questions on doing that. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. Hopefully these demonstrations of the functions related to the creation of activity pages may help when it comes time to build your yearbook. Using the templates already in the program and building your own templates should save you some time and give your book continuity. So thank you again for joining us on the Building Activity Pages webinar. And in the spring, we will get going again with another round of webinars, and we will also have the included final stages, which always comes after building activity pages. So final stages will be about how to submit and turn your pages into us. So be sure to get signed up for that one when we get those invites going out in January. So thank you again, and have a great rest of your afternoon or evening. So take care, everybody. Bye bye.